All right, check. All right, let's go live here. All right. Are these even moving through right now? Not yet. What's going on? Oh, you guys are quick. Oh my gosh. You guys are quick. One second. One second. Just gotta get this up on TikTok. There we go. All right, we're everywhere. Let's see. We'll get started here in just a second. Let's get my chats working. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, I know they were crazy, PB. We lost power here. It kicked me off stream. I have some videos on my phone of the wind whipping outside. Oh, where's my phone? I gotta get my phone and show you guys. Yeah, we had that 70-mile-per-hour gust rolling through my neighborhood. It was wild. My day's going good. A cap once you get to central Minnesota? Well, let's hope, because the models are looking pretty spooky out there. And I don't know, you know, different models actually show, you can see where this is wanting to put the worst of the severe weather up here, at least with winds. It's really where the hail and tornado threat is, too, with the latest SBC outlook. But some models like the MPass and Rufus actually have this area highlighted to the south. And I'll show you that in a second. I want to wait for some people to get in here. Yeah, some actually have that area highlighted. So we'll give it 1 second. I'll be right back. Let me just let some people get in here, and then we're going to get started. All right. Delicious. All right, 1 second, guys. We'll get started in 1 second. I got my hat. All right, can everyone hear me good? We're going to get started here. Uptrend overnight. Unless the cap holds. Uptrend in this severe weather. We're going to take a look at what's new. Uh-oh, the baby's crying. Yes, yes, yes. For anyone who's a member on YouTube or subscriber on TikTok, which is $2.99 a month, you get access to the Discord. We got a lot of weather enthusiasts in there, constant. I update that Discord with everything that's going on, from volcanoes to earthquakes to tropical to snow to rain to temperature to severe weather every single morning and throughout the day. So, and we got the NWS bot set up, so it's always updating. If there's any severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, don't worry, the baby will stop crying in a second. My wife's feeding her. It's not much control in a newborn. Linda, I appreciate you. Jasmine, extremely very confused blonde. What's going on? Yeah. So we have a big high pressure system, guys, that is actually going to be floating right over here and then sitting here for like a week. That's why the temperatures are going to get so hot. So if you guys are out here, kind of like, I'll show you. I mean, we are about to we'll go over the severe weather. I'm going to go over a few things, and I'm going to answer all your guys' questions. But I want to show you something. Okay. So, and everyone can hear me good, right? I think so. Let's see here. So here's what's going on. Just so you know that our weather pattern is kind of changing for a little bit here. Let's actually go to the 12Z Euro. This is kind of important. Watch what happens. We've kind of got this troughing zonal thing going on right now. Watch what happens with our jet stream over the next couple days. Look at that. Okay. Now this is over the weekend. Huge ridge building up in the east. What does this mean? Heat, humidity, but not a lot of precipitation. Well, you can actually be a little bit drier with this, but big trough pulling down into the west. Cooler temperatures are entering the west, and very warm temperatures are entering the east. Here's a big high pressure system circulating right here. It's very hard for thunderstorms to form in and around a high pressure. What this means is air particles are being forced down towards the surface of the earth. So to get, evaporation, convection, all this stuff, lift that you need to create thunderstorms, moisture needs to lift, and it can't really lift when you have a high pressure and those air particles pushing down at the surface. There's no lift in here. So that's when you get this, some areas out here in the southeast are going to may not see a cloud in the sky, or just a couple clouds in the sky for like the next 5 days. It's going to be really sunny, and watch this high pressure stick around, stick around, stick around, stick around, stick around, stick around. Maybe 28th, 29th, 30th, it starts to collapse and we get more moisture out there. But this thing is just holding, and that heat's going to continue to build. All right, this is what we call, so this is a negative PNA, where you've got this cold air out west and warm air out in the east. So this is a pretty significant heat, warm and dry pattern for the mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, and southeast, and potentially all the way up through New England as well. But we'll see about that. Yeah, Yali, how are you doing, Yali? I hope you're doing good. Probably not getting much sleep. Yali, you don't have to be on mod duty if you need rest. Anyway, so that's what's happening, and we can see that's why we've got the Climate Prediction Center being like, hey guys, we're about to get super hot out here. That's the 6 to 10 day, and then this is the 8 to 14 day. So that's what's going on there. Let me actually look at some of my levels here. Okay. Now, getting back into, I want to look at some models for today. We've seen a lot of changes. Let's look at the 15Z of the HRRR and see, does it show any capping out here? I want to talk about today's severe weather, obviously. So here we go. Moving into today. Wow. Well, there it is, but wow. Okay, so our storms, earlier we were seeing some supercell development potentially out here in eastern Montana, western North Dakota. Not really seeing that. Also, these storms are really starting to fire off late. So we're talking 10 to 11 p.m. We could get a line of supercells firing off in this region here. Based on the latest HRRR, we're going to look at a couple different model runs. But this right here starts off with obviously like a line of supercells moving off to the north and east, consolidates a little bit, and this is when we could get a damaging wind event right here at around midnight Central Time, especially out here in central to northern Minnesota. And I was looking at some of these potential wins earlier. And they're picking up some pretty strong winds. 87, 90 mile per hour winds in here. 89, yeah, 90. So, and then you've got, let's look out here over in North Dakota. We're seeing 89, 90 mile per hour wind gusts potentially. I know the MPass and the MPass model and the Rufus are showing 100, 105 mile per hour gust potential out here. So we just need to be aware of that. That is why you are in that 15 to 30% hatched significant wind threat and hail. The hail threat has to do with our updraft potential, which is directly related to our surface cape and our all layer cape, most unstable cape. So plenty of cape out here for large hail, especially as long as we get initiation. This is surface cape, and we're talking about over 6,000 surface cape. You can see we have a marginal tor here. Look at this. Now this would be capped down here in South Dakota, but it may not be capped up to the north. All right, let's take a look at a couple different things. Let's take a look at our latest SIG tour. Actually, did we get the NAM 3K 12Z update? Let me see what a couple different of these models show reflectivity wise. I'm gonna get to some of your guys' questions in a little bit. Yeah, the NAM is actually showing these storms firing off a little bit farther west into North Dakota, and does put some of those supercells a little bit farther south into Minnesota, still north of Minneapolis. Let's take a look at our latest MPass. The MPass model's been doing pretty decent this year in some occasions. So huge kind of derecho-like event, central to eastern North Dakota and then through central to northern Minnesota. You see that? That's big. And I'm sure the wind speeds on here, the wind gusts on here are pretty insane. By that look, I mean, look at this. Yeah, 110 mile per hour gust potential based on the MPass. We're talking gusts around category 3 major hurricane strength if the MPass model were to be correct here. Yeah, there was the 110 there. There it is. But, there's a bunch of different models. We don't really know. Let's hope the MPass isn't correct because the MPass is super aggressive on this. 100 miles per hour out here in Minnesota as well. So let's hope the MPass is the model that doesn't quite get it correct today, because the MPass is showing some pretty impressive winds, probably some decent SIG tour as well. In all these, though, you can see the Rufus. We've got powerful winds too, 70, 80 mile per hour winds. So they're all showing that a really aggressive straight line winds, 80 out here in Minnesota. I do want to take a look at the MPass and look at this, what the SIG tour is showing on here. Let's see. Yeah, that's crazy. 10.36. That's a crazy SIG tour look. I'm not even going to really entertain that. Let's go take a look at the HRRR15Z and see what the SIG tour on that is. Oh, same. Wow. That's slightly concerning. Interesting. Could have some issues on the surface. I mean, this is a really nice looking hodograph. There's inhibition here though. 3,000 surface cape, maxed out effective layer SIG tour param. So let's hope the cap holds here a little bit. But some impressive SIG tour params here. That last sounding didn't look too bad, but that's why you're only seeing tor, not marginal tor, PDS tor. The effective layer SIG tour params maxed out on every single one of these. So if the atmosphere does become extremely unstable, that means you'll be able to pop through that cap. I'd say PDS tor is definitely on the table today, and that is why, meaning EF2 plus damaging long track tornadoes. But that's why they labeled this right here, 10% hatched risk for tornadoes, because if our instability is high enough, yeah, you could get some strong tornadoes out here. I'm not seeing as much of a discrete setup. Discrete setups worry me a little bit more. Those tend to be more long track, but I wouldn't even pay attention to this 10%, guys, the way they have this laid out. I would watch a little bit farther down here to the south as well. Like, if I don't know, just my opinion. That thing should be extended. I think models don't really agree on where this stuff is popping up, and there's a lot of SIG tour potential down here to the south. There's capping issues down here to the south, but capping is extremely hard to predict, as we know. That's why we have so many conditional setups. So All right. Anyways, I'll take some of your guys' questions. By the way, there's your wind threat, 30% hatched. There's your hail, 15 to 30% hatched. Oops. And then there's your Tor, which I just showed you. I'm cooked. Oh no, no one's cooked. No one's cooked. Thanks to the one person who followed me over on TikTok. I appreciate you. All right. Sorry, I haven't been looking at chat, but now I'm looking at chat. Let me catch up a little bit. NTX, Marissa. Yes, thank God it's Friday. Time 6. Yali, what's going on? B, what's going on? NTX with the 7 spices. Blondie, what's going on? I wonder if Evan's going to need me later. I should shoot him a text. I actually need to go get my phone. Let's see here. I'm just reading some of the messages, and I'm going to take questions. I'm right in the heart of it. Let's go. Hey, if you like severe weather, it's not every day you get a hatched wind, hail, and tornado threat up here in North Dakota and Minnesota. So it's pretty, sketchy setup. But if you like severe weather, you're probably a little bit excited. Their basement is more. Wait, okay, I don't know what that was about. Oh, I may stay at the in-laws. The basement's more sturdy than mine. Basements are the best place to be in case of a tornado. Yeah. You're in North Dakota? Yeah, I mean, the majority of North Dakota could see some very strong storms today. I think central to southern is going to be the biggest risk. Just based on what we were looking at. Like, really this region. I know the enhanced goes a little bit farther, but you got to everywhere in North Dakota has to watch out. It does seem like here, no surprise. That's why the enhanced is there. But I'm just talking about from what I saw in the models. This area is pretty correct. I still think this area the enhanced needs to dive down a little bit, but we'll see. How many tropical storms we got now? Well, we just had Eric, and this is about to be. What's our F storm? What's our F storm this year, guys? Fernand? Fernand? I think it's Fernand. It says it right here. We're probably going to have Fernand here within the next 7 days. I love my weather-wise. Me too. Look at this. Whoop. Whoop. Yeah, and wait. In a way, I'm one of those twice in the same week. Yep. Did they? I think they classified Eric as making landfall as a Cat 3. It was a Cat 4, like 20 miles offshore. And I think they did one more pass, and they're like a weekend right before it hit shore. I don't know. That thing, part of the eye was like on land, and it was still labeled as a Cat 4. But it was, regardless, it was a major hurricane. Yeah, there's been a lot of damage down there. Are we cooked, or is it mostly going to be linear storm mode and not supercells, giant hail? It's going to be a combination, unfortunately. So, we can take a look at the HRRR over here on Radar Omega as well. Let's go to regional. Let's go to HRRR. 16Z needs low. Let's go to 15Z. So, earlier in the day, definitely discrete. As we get through later, which was what happens with a lot of these setups, it starts to kind of condense into an MCS. But earlier in the day, we're seeing a little bit more discrete. Now, this looks like it's linear, but on a lot of models, this is more broken up. You have like cell, 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 cell. And then you have a couple cells out here on a lot of the models. So discrete setup earlier. So I know this looks like just a QLCS line here, but it looks much more discrete earlier on. And then as we get later into the night, this is when it starts to look just like a super big MCS. We were actually looking at that earlier. I can show you that again. As we know, discrete setup's typically more dangerous for Florida. That's a severe thunderstorm warning in Florida. Discrete setup's usually more dangerous for tornadoes. Yeah, here's the 16Z HRRR up here. And see, this one's actually just has it more of a line setup, but I mean, you have some supercell potential, some discrete supercells potentially developing in here. Let's look at the MPass again. The MPass had an interesting setup as well. You see, the MPass starts off with some, isolated thunderstorms out there through North Dakota earlier in the evening. And then you still do have the potential to have some of these isolated supercells out here ahead in Minnesota. It's hard to tell how quickly this thing wants to get itself together into that big, you know, damaging wind event. Let's look at the Rufus. Yeah, you got, I mean, looks like the highest discrete supercell potential is going to be over there in North Dakota. Sorry, I can't talk. The Rufus has this all very far north in Minnesota as well. You would think, yeah, the Rufus has this all very far north in Minnesota. Almost upgraded to moderate. I'm surprised we don't, like, we don't have a moderate-driven wind or hail threat, Matt. With what we're seeing out here, eastern North Dakota and northern Minnesota. Look at the MPass as well. This is the latest MPass that's loading. And the MPass has had some impressive calls. Like, look at, just based on their reflectivity. Like, that is crazy right there. I'm not even going to pull anything up. Look at this. That is a crazy look right there. We have maxed out effective layer SIGTOR params all throughout out here. Matt, by the way, which I'm pretty sure you saw. The highest SIGTOR params a little bit farther to the south where we may see capping. So I understand them maybe not dragging that 10% hatch farther south because it looks like the atmosphere wants to hold a little bit farther to the south. But our CAPE values are ridiculously high for this far north. I mean, we're seeing 6,000 to 7,000 joules per kilogram in some places out here in southeastern North Dakota, central to northern Minnesota. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if we didn't at least get a hail or wind-driven moderate. It's the stupid 700 millibar inversion making today not that high. Let's take a look. I haven't really even... I've taken a little bit of look at what's going on with our jet. This low-level jet really kind of cranks in up there through northern Minnesota late into really into Saturday morning. And I think that's what could trigger some really dangerous a dangerous wind and hail threat up here. Maybe even trigger a couple spin ups up there in northern Minnesota as we get into early Saturday morning. Let's see here. What am I looking for right now? I did want to talk to you about today, Matt. I should have called you before I got on stream. Well, I guess I could call you right now. It's very rare to see storms fire north of the warm front like this. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Here, let me give you a call real quick. Where's my phone? Oh, I have to wait. I gotta wait. All right. Let me take a look at a few. Let me take a look at a few other things, guys. Sorry. Let me see here. Let's take a look at a few other things here, and then I'll get back to answering questions. Let's take a look at our dues. Oh, wow. Wow. We're almost pushing 80 with some of our dew points up here. And some of these models underpredict dew points as well. That's a lot of buoyancy up here, guys. That's really impressive. Look at the next day, too. Oh, my gosh. Are you joking? Yeah, we're at 80 degree dew points up here in central Minnesota, western central Minnesota. Wow. All right, anyways, let me get back to answering questions. It's nasty up here. Heat index of 110 tomorrow. Oh, I bet. That's bad. Let me actually look at that again. Let me look at our heat index. Oh, wow. Nebraska or South Dakota. Yeah, getting up near 110. Oh, my gosh. Minneapolis, 105, 106 heat index on the HRRR. We got a 110 up in North Dakota. Holy smokes. Holy smokes, guys. That is some heat. Yikes. All this heat is moving out east, though, for kind of the end of the weekend through the beginning of next week, by the way, if you're living out east. I know Raleigh and to its north and east. Okay, I'm missing what that conversation is about. We're not built for this type of heat up here. That's going to be hot. That's hot. My husband is in Oaks, North Dakota. Is not too familiar with tornadoes or this weather. What risk is he at? O-A-K-E-S, Minnesota. Or North Dakota. He should have a way to get weather alerts today. Now, most of these most significant severe thunderstorms do look to stay just to his north, but we could see some trailing down here. We do see some isolated supercells on some of the models down there. So, timing-wise for him, it's tough to tell because the models don't really agree on the timing. But let me see. Let's at least look at the HRRR for timing-wise down there. Yeah, the HRRR doesn't even have any initiation down that far south. Let's take a look at the MPAS. The MPAS does. The MPAS wants to bring some severe thunderstorms in and around that region. Potentially at around late 10 p.m. to midnight. 10 p.m. I'd say 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. So very, very late. But most models keep storms just to the north of there, but the MPAS brings them very, very close to southern North Dakota there. So he should be weather aware. Wisconsin's not looking too bad. We could, northwestern Wisconsin, we may have more of a concern about, but this is going to be super early into Saturday morning before the sun comes up. Central Wisconsin's not looking too bad. Most of these storms want to stay north. If it did affect central Wisconsin again, it'd be early in the morning, Saturday morning. But most of these storms, at least on the latest run, stay pretty far north in Wisconsin. Yeah, I woke up. I mean, I'm near Philly, and I woke up this morning, and it was actually kind of chilly outside. I was like, "What the heck is going on?" Oh, Mesomat, the rainbow. What is that? Oh, I thought I said minister. It's mini star. Matt, I appreciate you. Anthony, I appreciate you. Hey there. Why can't I pronounce this word? Bucius. I'm probably saying that wrong. Brittany, I appreciate you. Anthony Fishing, thank you. How is Northern Michigan looking for tomorrow? Yeah, we can take a look at that. Let's go and take a look at our day 2. Northern Michigan, you're in a slight. This whole area is in a slight up here. That's going to include portions of Canada. Southern Ontario. Southeastern Ontario. I think it's just Southern Ontario. But maybe an enhanced. Anytime you got a slight, there's always a chance you get an uptick to an enhanced. So we're talking the little thumb up here. Potentially as far south as Bay City and then up through Harrison, Highland, Frankfurt. There's your slight line up here.
Severe thunderstorm warning has been updated.
Taking a look at 2% torr risk, wind, hail. It's a wind and hail. Yeah, it's a wind and hail driven risk, but you do have a 2% torr risk tomorrow up there as well. And then we have 1 into upstate New York. Or really just in through the state of New York and then northeastern PA and Vermont, western Massachusetts, northwestern Connecticut. You have a wedding? Oh, yeah. Hopefully it's not bad. No problem. I'm in the middle of cutting my grass. I'll be back later. See you later. Can you give me a rundown of what the northern dump? Oh, sorry, Alexis. I just read that. I don't know if you're still in here. Yeah, I mean, we could see there's going to be a hail, wind, and tornado possibility out there in the northern thumb of Michigan. Tornado chances aren't that high, but if there's a small possibility for it, so you do want to stay aware. What is the timing tomorrow for Western New York? Yeah, we can take a look at that. Right now, Western New York timing tomorrow, it's looking like... It's not even looking that bad on here for Western New York. No, I mean, the worst of it looks to be moving in. It's going to be an evening into the overnight hours of Saturday event. Or a Sunday event. So, now actually, let me go look at this on Pivotal so I can get a little bit more detail. I need more detail on this look. Actually, even the MPass we could take a look at. MPass doesn't really see that much. Let's go back to the HRRR. Man, HRRR neither. All these latest runs are keeping it pretty far north. I mean, looks like some bad thunderstorms could be rolling in as early as... It looks late tomorrow. We're talking 10, 11, 12 for New York. We'll see if that changes, but it's looking pretty late right now. Let me look at the NAM 3K for tomorrow as well. Pretty late. Pretty late, if not into Sunday morning, yeah. There's been a huge downtrend out there in New York, though. We'll see if that continues for tomorrow. It's looking likely to shower, but the severe threat's looking pretty low. Thanks, Blondie. Oops. Okay. Anyone got any questions? I'm going to be on for probably like 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to be on later to cover this weather event. Now, probably going to get on as these storms are moving into eastern North Dakota and into Minnesota, because this is when we're supposed to really see things start to kick into gear. I'll watch to see if we have some earlier storms initiate central to western North Dakota. But you know, there's some pretty significant damage potential with some of these severe thunderstorms later into the evening and early hours of tomorrow morning. So I'm paying attention out here, eastern central North Dakota and then central and northern Minnesota. I still think we may see some storms dip down a little bit farther south into Minnesota. I don't know if as far south as Minneapolis, but maybe St. Cloud. Buffalo doesn't look too bad. You might just end up having some strong thunderstorms, not severe tomorrow, and heavy downpours late into the day. The models don't show too much. They've really downtrended on that severe threat. What cities are in the orange? You've got the big cities: Duluth, Grand Rapids, Virginia, Willow Valley Township. I don't know how to pronounce this. Bemidji? I can't pronounce that. Fargo, Grand Forks, Bismarck, Dickinson, Waterford City, Savage, Sydney, Glendive. I would say the biggest cities are Duluth, Fargo, and Bismarck. Grand Forks, I guess. As I said, though, this area looks to be the most significant as of now. Has the highest potential for significant damaging thunderstorms, hail, wind, and tornado, but things change rapidly as the day moves on, and our models are going to continue to update. We're seeing, models showing some pretty good SIG-TOR parameters down here, and some pretty good instability down here to the south as well, so we may see that enhanced, slightly move down. Bemidji. Bemidji? Bemidji. Thanks, Marissa. Should I worry in Devil Lake? Where's that? North Dakota. I'd definitely pay attention. I would definitely pay attention up there. It's hard to tell you the timing because all these models are really rough on when they think certain storms will initiate. Some of them have capping in some areas too. But, potentially as early as 9 to 10 p.m., you could have some strong to severe thunderstorms rolling through that area. That could include a tornado, large 4-inch plus hail, 70, 80 plus mile per hour gusts. So it's kind of all on the table. You may end up, looking at the NAM wants to put storms directly into your backyard. But again, if we take a look at some other models, it's not looking as bad for your area. The MPAS keeps a lot of these storms south of Devil's Lake. So it kind of all depends which one of these models ends up being the most correct. I do tend to like the MPAS. So the MPAS wants to keep a lot of these south of you. I like the HRRR. It's typically, it's not the best, but you get updates every hour. It doesn't show as bleak of a situation out here in central to eastern North Dakota. Shows like kind of one major supercell out here developing, and not that big almost derecho type setup that we're seeing on the MPAS and Rufus covering the entire central to eastern North Dakota. It's a tough call for these. It's a tough call today. No, the odds that Philadelphia gets a tornado today is, I wouldn't say impossible, but close to impossible. Yeah, weather-wise, which I'm using now, and Radar Omega are both free. I use the paid versions, but they both have most of their capabilities. You can do most things on them for free. I only pay because I need a couple extra things for streaming on them. How severe weather looking for next week? Let's take a look. This is our day one. This is our Saturday threat. Oops, let me get back so you guys can see this. So this is our Saturday threat. Still pretty far up north, northern plains, upper Midwest, and down here through the southeastern Great Lakes region. Moving into day 3, Sunday. Here we go. Really stretching from the southern all the way up through the northern plains and then upper Midwest. We've got another severe threat. Now, I don't think the SPC has anything for day 4 or day 5 yet, but if we do take a look at CSU, they probably are seeing some stuff, which, well, I know they are. So if you want to take a look a little bit farther out to an extended outlook for severe weather, here you go. So Monday, covering portions of the Midwest. Then we potentially see severe weather returning into New England and the Ohio Valley on Tuesday of next week. Southeast may get involved next Wednesday. I don't know about this, though, because we have a high pressure sitting out there. This kind of might change down here. I'm not sure about this. We may still be seeing sunny skies at this point down there. I could see this through Tuesday, though. I could see this set up through Tuesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. North Dakota, Minnesota today for tonight. Well, yeah, as we get into the evening hours and then into Saturday morning, this is really... I know the enhanced doesn't go down that far, but that's really the area I'm watching. Not impossible to get... look, if I had to average out all the models, this is where I'm seeing the most activity. We could get some strong to severe thunderstorms down here, out farther west into eastern Montana, farther north. If you're in any of these risk zones, you need to be paying attention. There is a ridiculous amount of instability in this region. I'm talking like 5, 6, 7,000 joules per kilogram. That means strong updrafts. As we get later into the evening, we have a very strong low-level jet kicking in. We're talking like potential 80 to 90 mile per hour gusts just above our heads, which is going to cause some low-level shear, which gives us an elevated tornado risk. We have a little bit of hope for capping, meaning some of these storms may not initiate, even though we have most of the conditions there. If you get a little warm sector sitting over your heads and that warm air at the surface isn't able to rise and condense, then instead of having super strong severe weather moving through your severe thunderstorms moving through your area, you end up with nothing. And that's always what we're hoping for in these type of situations. Yeah. Got it. It's why not to be snowing and have heat warnings? Where's it snowing? Oh, there you guys are supposed to get a little bit of snow out here. Yeah. Capping just means basically there's a cap on the atmosphere. So like, yeah, there's our rain for today too, by the way. So, you know, for to have an unstable environment, you need warm air on the surface with cooler air aloft, because warm air is more buoyant than cold air. So warm air will lift through the cold air, and then it'll condense, release latent heat, and form these giant, strong thunderstorms. Sometimes you get a little warm air that moves in above the surface, and it doesn't let that hot, really, really hot air at the surface that wants to pull that moisture up into the atmosphere. It doesn't let it rise. It caps it. And it's really hard for these models to tell exactly where and if that capping is going to happen, because the difference between 1 degree Fahrenheit can change if you have capping or not. You know what I mean? Because the air at the surface just has to be a tiny bit cooler or a tiny bit warmer than the air aloft. So it can really change your setup. You could go from having a massive, severe weather outbreak to, I wouldn't say sunny skies, but close to sunny skies if you have a cap that holds. So now models are seeing, we're not going to have a massive cap up here in North Dakota and Minnesota. You could have some areas that we don't see that initiation because of that, though. Also, sometimes there's forcing issues where these separate air boundaries aren't really colliding in a way to where you're getting that lift. You're getting that widespread lift, and it's able to push up through a certain layer of the atmosphere. All a lot of this air needs to do is make it just past a certain level of the atmosphere, and it'll violently elevate into the upper atmosphere and form these storm clouds. So forcing, capping, there's a lot of things that can really prevent it from busting through that mid layer of the atmosphere and sparking this bad severe weather outbreak. That's probably overall, when it comes to predicting severe weather, that's the biggest issues with models. A degree or two temperature difference, or if these models are looking into the future, and if they get 1 or 2 degree difference wrong in certain layers of the atmosphere, it can completely mess up what they were seeing. People don't understand how ridiculous it is that we even have the capability to sometimes predict things correctly. Our atmosphere is extremely variable. The only real estate of air in our galaxy that is more variable than our atmosphere is Jupiter's. There's nothing more complicated than what's going on in our atmosphere. That's what they say, other than Jupiter in this galaxy. So it's complicated. That's why the models don't agree. They're all getting not pretty much. They're all getting the same data, but they're shooting out different results because they have different algorithms for dealing with capping, forcing, and stuff like that when it comes to severe weather. So, guys, what are the chances of a moderate risk upgrade today? If we get one, it's probably going to be out here. And I think it's possible. I'm 60-40 that we will get a moderate upgrade for wind or hail. Probably, well, yeah, for wind or hail. I'm 60-40 on it. 60 that we will. 60% chance that we will. I'm going to get off now, guys. I'm going to be back on covering this later. I got to go. It's Friday, so I got to go to B-dubs tonight with the fam. But that's fine because I think most of this event is going to be sparking up a little bit later into the evening. We see these storms really start to blow up as we get into around 9-10 p.m. Central. So that's probably when I'll be hopping on, when we start to see this. You know what I mean? Because we could see damaging winds, damaging hail, and a few damaging tornadoes. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate anyone who followed, gifted. I'll be back on later if you want to follow me or sub to me so you can see me hop on. I do post updates every single day onto all my social medias, and I typically do an afternoon update like this. And I typically stream. I try to stream towards the most severe parts of the setups each evening or afternoon, depending on when they're happening. Yesterday, I was trying to stream that, and then my power went out because we had 70-mile-per-hour gusts go through my neighborhood. So unfortunately, it was a short stream yesterday because our power went out. Yeah, 60-40. 60. Yeah. 60-40. It's close. I think it's a little more leaning towards it because the models are showing some crazy setups, especially in central to northern Minnesota. All right, I will see you guys a little bit later. Mods, you're a godsend. I appreciate you guys. See you.